Hey everyone, welcome to another review. This time I know I've done anime before in the past, but I kind of wanted to start getting more into it since I kind of have a lot of it, especially older school anime, especially for a lot of the younger people because I don't think they know more enough about anime history. So it's always good to bring up some stuff from the past and just worthwhile things that I think people should be watching. This one we're going big time. This is the mother of all animes, at least motion picture movies. This is the one that really started the boom in the late 90s, or late 80s, early 90s, with none other than Tatsuhiro Otomo's Akira. Okay, Akira is the big one. This one came out in 1988 in Japan. 1989 it was brung over by Orion Studios, which no longer exists. It's the story about two young bikers who happen to be stuck in the far off future of 2019, 31 years after World War III. And takes place in Neo Tokyo, Japan. And they're two young punk bikers who get caught in the cross between the middle of a revolution that's going on between the people of Tokyo and also some scientific experiments that the government is doing on human beings, specifically little kids. Now, this movie does take place in I wouldn't want to say dystopian, but pretty much a world where the government is basically not really caring about the people. The people want to overthrow the government. There's a lot of that into it, as well as psychic powers. What basically happens is Tetsuo, the main protagonist in this movie, or antagonist, is caught up in the middle of he's in the middle of a fight, and he accidentally runs into a psychic named Takashi, or number 26, and basically through that he happens to inherit powers. He gets taken away by the government to experiment upon, while Kaneda runs into a revolutionary people who are part of the revolution, specifically a girl by the name of Kei, and he works his way with her in two different ways. One, to kind of get with her because he thinks she's cute, and two, which seems very far off, is that he wants to get his friend back, Tetsuo. This is kind of... Alright, this is a movie that's based on a manga that's 6 volumes long, and I actually have it. That's one of the problems, to convert over 1,000 pages into a 2+ hour movie. And you also have to remember that this movie was done before the manga was. The manga didn't finish, I believe, until 1991, 1992. This movie, like I said, was released in 88 in Japan. So Otomo was basically working without having completed the story. And and it's very chopped up. One of the things I'm going to try not to do is compare the two. I haven't finished reading the manga, so I can't compare it much, but you can tell that a lot was left on the cutting room floor. You can tell characters, especially the whole thing with the committee and what their role is supposed to be, definitely got cut, as well as Kei's and the whole subplot with who they're working for and why they're doing it, as well as you can tell the biker stuff was also cut a lot of. The whole thing with the clowns and the capsules was really cut out a lot. I really loved this movie when I was young. I actually owned almost every iteration of it. I've owned it on VHS. I've owned it on DVD. I owned the 2001 release of it from, I believe it was Bandai. I own the 25th anniversary DVD Blu-ray, and I own the Blu-ray limited edition that actually just came out last year. The problem with this, also I will be reviewing the original dub, not the 2001 dub. I'll do the 2001 dub a little bit later on. Reason is I kind of like the 88, the original dub better, the Streamline dub, because I'd rather listen to Leonardo from Ninja Turtles. He's the same voice who does Leonardo in the Ninja Turtles cartoon, also does Kaneda's voice here, and I'd rather listen to his voice than Ty's voice from Digimon. But we'll get into that whenever I do the 2001 dub review. Now, one of the strengths of this movie, still to this day, this movie's gorgeous. This movie cost over $1 million back then in Japanese money to do, and while it wasn't a huge success, it was a gorgeous movie. This movie still looks beautiful to this day, some almost 30 years later. The characters don't look Japanese, they don't look disproportioned, they don't have skinny limbs or anything like that. They don't look like deformed characters, they look like humans actually. This is a movie that there's a reason that everyone wants it to be shot in live action, because it can be done, because these look like real people. I will say this, that the frame rate also is beautiful, it's high count. The voice acting is not the greatest, or the script I should say is not the greatest, as some explanations come off like I have no idea what you're talking about, and the lip movement kind of doesn't match what's being said at times. So that's one of the things. Also, as far as story goes, it does feel rushed at times, because especially in the third act when stuff is just happening, where they're trying to intersect all these different plot lines. The whole thing with Kaneda trying to find Tatsu, because of his run-in with these psychics, gets somehow powers, and his growing obsession to find this character who everyone somewhat knows about, named Akira. So the story at times feels a little bit muddled, and it kind of feels like you can tell seeds of other things are being dropped in, but at least they're not overplayed. Like the whole thing with the subcommittee and what's going on with them isn't over, it doesn't feel like you get just enough of it so it makes sense in the contents of the story. One of the big problems I have now, as opposed to when I used to watch this, is the whole thing between the two main characters, Tetsuo and Kaneda. And one of the big problems is these are people that are supposed to be best friends, and other than in flashbacks, you never get the sense that they were friends. You kind of get the sense that they are rivals. And the fact that Kaneda really never treats him as a friend in the movie unless Tetsuo is asking for help, which begs a big problem. And one of the secondary characters named Kei, Kaneda actually looks like he has more concern for her during the movie than for his supposed best friend Tetsuo. And that can be a big issue, especially since you see these flashbacks of them being close friends, and at times Kaneda seems like he cares about him, but at the same time he always feels like an antagonist. He always feels like, oh, you're nothing, I'm gonna attack you. And that's a big problem. Kei herself is kind of a bland character. She literally lives there to give the 3 psychic children someone to work through. And that's pretty much it. The 3 psychic kids, I will say this, I like the fact that they're voiced by older people. because I always get the sense, because they all have old face, that they should be played by old people. Or, you know, these are people who have aged quicker than they're supposed to. So I kind of like that. But the story's a bit muddled, and it has kind of issues, especially connecting all the storylines together. And the ending is kind of like you're not sure what happened or why. I still kind of don't understand it. This is a non-spoiler, so I won't get into it, but it didn't really work for me when I first saw it. It still doesn't work for me almost 30 years later. Animation's still beautiful though. I kind of like the voice work in this movie, even though it's not the best and the dialogue is not the greatest in the world. It's still worth a watch. This is a movie that has it's really the forefront of what anime was when it came to the Western, when it came to the US. It just opened the doors for everything. It is super violent, it is edgy, it is mature. It's not to the point of parody with the violence works within its content though. It's not like a Tarantino movie where I'm gonna shoot someone and they're gonna freaking explode. People get shot, they bleed. It doesn't over accentuate the violence, so I'm pretty cool with that. This thing, if anyone saw the movie Chronicles, you will definitely get the Tatsuo vibe in this movie. That's pretty much. It's hard. This used to be my favorite anime, and it's slipped down as I find more and more problems with the narrative. Like, I didn't realize Tatsuo was such a jackass until I saw it recently. How he supposedly says Tetsuo is his best friend, but then at a moment's notice, he'll drop him in a second to help Kei, which is someone he'd literally known in the course of this movie. I think this movie takes place only 3 or 4 days, and he drops Tetsuo in a moment's notice to go help Kei. So much for bros over hoes, huh? That's about it though. Once again, grading this movie is hard. As a kid, I would definitely gave it a 9.8. As an adult, I think it's still worth an 8.3. Even with its storytelling problems, it's still gorgeous to look at. The fight scene, there's several standout moments, whether it's the opening bike scene with the clowns and the capsules, whether it's Tatsuo showing off his psychic powers, the ending on and what happens to Tatsuo. I know people who can't stand the visuals. It's an iffy thing. If you're queasy or you're squirmish, you might not like the ending part. Another problem, real quick, just because I remembered it now, I had a problem with the 3 children, because the 3 children also seemed like antagonists. It felt like everyone was picking on Tatsuo. So I have no problem with him turning evil, because in this movie it seems like everyone is picking on him. I'm not gonna lie, the 3 kids literally start a fight with Tatsuo for no reason, just because they can, I guess. So, and also when we get the reveal of Akira, I'm pretty sure, much like Tatsuo's reaction, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, this is it." As much issues as I have with it, I will definitely say it is worth going out of your way to watch, especially if you're an anime fan, just to see how far the medium has gotten, and just how good anime can look when the time is taken. And as of right now, this movie is still gorgeous to look at. I dare say it's still better than most anime that's produced nowadays, or at least 90% of them. So that's it for now. Hopefully, I might do Chronicle next, or I might do another anime. I haven't figured that one out yet. Have you seen Akira? Feel free to let me know in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and if you know an anime that you think I should review, feel free to let me know as well. That's it for now. Talk to you later. Bye.